Hey Star Trek fans, welcome to another Week in Trek here on Kertrats Productions. After last week's whirlwind release of the entire second season of Star Trek Prodigy on Netflix, this week is proving to be a bit slower when it comes to Star Trek news. There are a few stories floating around the internet, however, so let's dive in on them now.
You're the captain of the most important space station in the entire Federation. You're news.
As I mentioned earlier, last week saw the release of Star Trek Prodigy Season 2 on Netflix in a number of markets, and we now have some numbers on how it has been performing. Internationally, Prodigy has put in some impressive numbers, cracking Netflix's top 10 charts in the UK and a number of other countries. 8 countries in total have had Prodigy appear on the top 10 list, mostly in Europe, but also in New Zealand and India. The show's best performance is in Germany, at one point reaching number 3. The numbers for Prodigy are important in determining if Netflix will greenlight a third season for the show. Creators Kevin and Dan Hageman have said that the show needs to do, quote, more than well to gain Netflix's good grace for a season 3, but they also have hopes that it might perform well enough for Netflix to greenlight a Prodigy streaming movie. We'll be keeping an eye on these numbers as we go forward, and our attempt to keep the conversation going for Prodigy continues as Brandy Jackal and I discuss 2 episodes weekly in our Unready Room livestream on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern here on the channel. Watch along and tune in for the discussion. This week we'll be talking about episodes 3 and 4, Who Saves the Saviors and Temporal Mechanics 101. Continuing with the streaming ratings news, you might recall that Star Trek Discovery made its way onto Nielsen's top 10 original streaming series list a few times during its 5th and final season. Well, it appeared one final time for the series finale, Life Itself. While Netflix's Bridgerton, unsurprisingly, topped the list for the last week of May, Discovery appeared at number 10 for the week, which featured the final episode of the series that launched the current lineup of Star Trek on television. Congrats to the cast and crew of Star Trek Discovery for its strong showing for Season 5, and I'm really happy that the show was able to go out on a high note as far as streaming ratings news goes. It's that time of year again. With the San Diego Comic-Con just over 2 weeks away, vendors have been busy announcing their convention-exclusive products for convention goers to enjoy, and even offering them for pre-order for people who won't be in attendance in San Diego. First up, from Factory Entertainment, we have 2 Star Trek offerings. We start with a replica of the USS Enterprise encased in a plastic block. This is a replica of the Enterprise as seen in the original series episode Cat's Paw, a spooky Halloween-themed show in which a character named Sylvia creates a miniature version of the Enterprise and dangles it over a candle flame, causing the real Enterprise to experience extreme heat. She then encases it in a plastic block meant to represent an impenetrable force field, which is recreated beautifully with this replica from Factory Entertainment. The second item they are offering is a metal bottle opener based on the TNG Season 1 Cricket Phaser. It is solid die-cast metal and looks to be a pretty faithful recreation of the tiny Type 1 phaser. Both items can be pre-ordered on the Factory Entertainment website now. I'll have a link in the video description. They are expected to ship in August. Or, of course, you can find them in person at the San Diego Comic-Con or the Las Vegas Star Trek Convention this summer. Geek-style creators Hero Within also have a couple of con exclusives they're hoping Trek fans will be keen to pick up. 2 new Star Trek jackets, the first based on Captain Archer's uniform in Star Trek Enterprise, and one based on Wesley's Season 1 acting ensign uniform from TNG. The NX-01 uniform jacket is lined with schematics of the early Starship Enterprise and has a pre-order price of $99 US. The Wesley Crusher acting ensign jacket also has a gorgeous lining, this one featuring a VFX shot from Where No One Has Gone Before, the episode in which Wesley got the field commission to acting ensign. The pre-order price for this jacket is also $99, and both can be pre-ordered at the Hero Within booth at the San Diego Comic-Con. Unfortunately, they are not currently available for people not in attendance at the con, but they will be featured at the Las Vegas Trek Con as well. And finally, greeting card company and holiday ornament maker Hallmark has unveiled their convention-exclusive Star Trek tree ornament, a Nexus Damage variant of their upcoming Enterprise B keepsake ornament. The price is $35, and it will only be available in person at the San Diego Comic-Con. They also only have a small allotment planned for each day of the convention, so these are likely to disappear fast. They will also reportedly be available at the New York Comic-Con in October. Well, that's the news for this week in Trek, and unfortunately there are no new releases to talk about for the coming 7 days. We do, however, have a small correction to issue for last week's episode. After that episode dropped, I learned that the release date for the Star Trek annual comic issue had been moved from July 3rd to July 17th, so if you tried to pick that comic up after seeing it in my video, I truly do apologize. You will have to wait a couple more weeks for that one. And that's it for this week in Trek. Thank you so much for joining me, and thanks again to the Patreon supporters. I love bringing you the week's Trek news and releases, and I hope you enjoy these videos as well. Join me again next week for another week in Trek, and in the meantime, check out some of my other videos as well as the weekly live show on Saturdays talking about episodes of Star Trek Prodigy. I also have shorts that I've just started doing. I hope you're enjoying those as well. They've been a lot of fun to make. See you in the next video, and until then, as always, live long and prosper.